It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Meloni.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Thanks to everyone for joining me again this early Friday morning. And keep in mind, you can find this show on here every weekday at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ. And this is a show all about business owners, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay and regional communities. So I invite you to please make this a station of yours to tune into each and every morning at 8 a.m. and take a break from all the political talk and nonsense that's starting to contaminate our airwaves. I wanted to take a stand against that and do something positive for the community and highlight all the successes of our entrepreneurs and people in the community. So again, 8 a.m. every weekday on 1250 WHNZ. Please tune in. Also, if you're in the office or at home, you can also catch us live in studio via the live stream. Just head to my website, tampabayradio.com. On the homepage, you'll see a button that says live stream. Click on that, and you can see all the action live in studio. We also put up pictures and things from some of the guests' websites on the stream. And so you'll see a lot of extra content that you're not obviously going to hear if you're just listening across the airwaves. You can always catch the show on demand if you missed the show. I am over on iTunes. Just search for That Business Show if you're a fan of podcasts. And I put all the shows up on tampabayradio.com, usually within 24 to 48 hours. Just head over to the show info tab, and also on the homepage, our guest networks tab takes you over to all the guests that have been on the show. Click on that and you'll see their show interviews and get some great information. I've had some fascinating interviews with many great guests on this program, and just having a lot of fun doing this program each and every morning. So again, tampabayradio.com. Great show planned for you today. Talking with personal trainers Mike Ritter and Michelle Richards here in just a moment with the Result Cult, all about fitness and stress management and things of that nature, as well as their story within the fitness industry. And on the second half of the show, we'll be talking with Rolf Arnhem of he's just about to publish he's got a new book out, Start Everything, Finish Nothing. So we'll be talking about leadership and everything on the second part of the show, and a great story. He's got some great stories to share on that part of the show as well. So I'm going to bring on my first guests, Mike Ritter and Michelle Richards. During his 45-pound weight loss journey, Mike Ritter became fascinated with nutrition. By scouring the internet for diets and nutrition tips, he came across many modalities to try, but none of that worked as fast and as well as the paleo diet. While she loved to move, Michelle Richards' fascination was completely redirected from exercise and voluminous training to the beautiful mechanism of movement. She came to love the practice of movement rather than the trivial daily grind of exercise. Mike and Michelle, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on?
So this is your all's debut on the radios, huh?
Yeah. So exciting.
Thank you all very much for coming in. And this is what the show is all about. This is about people making a difference in the community and hearing their stories and giving a voice to the people that otherwise would have problems getting their message out. And so I applaud you for everything that you're doing in the community. And I want to hear your story first of all. So Mike, if you want to, I want to start with you. Your story. You have a 45-pound weight loss and how you got involved with fitness and everything.
Yeah. Actually, before I get started on that, would we be able to give a shout out to our beautiful moms? Happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. Mother's Day.
Berta.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My wife, Leah, greatest mom on earth. But as far as my journey goes, like I have a pretty typical, what I think is a pretty typical story where I played, high school sports, football, baseball. Ended up playing a little bit of college baseball, went on to a small school there.
Where'd you play college baseball at?
Weber International University.
Okay. I grew up playing baseball through my sophomore year in high school. I got out of it after that. I found cars and girls, and then the rest is history after that. So I got out of baseball. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was kind of too slow to play any other sport. So
that's a good thing about baseball. You don't really have to be in shape to play baseball.
Yeah. They kind of stuck me over at first base, let me guard the base for a little while, and I ended up like most college athletes, going through a strength and conditioning program in the off season. Literally hated it. Any reason to cheat during a workout was kind of my way of doing things, and that got me into trouble. So as soon as baseball was done, after I left the sport, I kind of put it away. You spend so much of your time working out and spending your time obsessing about sports, and I kind of put it away, and I just tried to live like what I would consider like a normal dude, and So I drank a lot of beer, ate a lot of pizza, gained a bunch of weight, and like I said in the bio, I lost 45 pounds, but that's only because my highest recorded weight that I knew of was 220. So I might have been even heavier than that. But once I kind of hit a point, I think if you're a competitive person, once you hit a point of that, that state where you're overweight and you realize other people don't see you the way that you see you. I still saw that competitive person and felt like I could, probably get back in shape anytime I wanted.
And you mentioned a lot of the paleo diet. What is that specifically? What are some of the talking points of that diet that you used?
Well, I started just kind of like reducing calories a little bit, and I started researching like carb timing and things like that, and fats, carbs, protein. I started reading a little bit about that, and I realized after this book was given to me, it's called The Paleo Solution from Rob Wolf, and it's like an evolutionary approach to diet where it's a very simplistic look, where you basically take a look at some of the modern issues and modern health concerns, and realize that it revolves around, inflammatory issues and a lot of diet-induced stuff coming from processed foods. So it's kind of like the paleo concept is really, we have some dietary principles like removing grains, legumes, dairy, processed foods for a little while, but it's really about circling back the wagons a little bit and saying, okay, what went wrong? Why are people like this? And how can we circle back to the beginning before all of these problems happen? And that really starts with all natural food.
Okay, and Michelle, how did you come to meet Mike and everything? You're also a personal trainer both at the Harbor Island Athletic Center. Talk to me about your story and how you all met and got involved in this.
Yeah, so 3.5 years ago, I started working at Harbor Island. Mike had been there for, like 6 months at that point. So we met just by working together. Prior to that, my story kind of starts out and kind of pertains to the Result Cult this way. I went up and down and tried different diets, vegetarian diet, just trying to reduce calories. I was always what people would consider to be in shape, just never really satisfied with my body. I think just many females, we kind of just go up and down with just our self-esteem. So what I really found over time was exercise. The exercise that I was doing was redundant. It was quantitative driven instead of quality. I wasn't finding any performance gains, any gratification from what I was doing. So when I met Mike and he was doing the paleo diet, we started doing CrossFit. So CrossFit was a combination of Olympic lifting, gymnastics, and then cardiovascular exercise. And those three things gave us more of a performance-driven workout. And anyway, so we started working out together, and I started seeing that, wow, trying to get better at these three elements, Olympic lifting, gymnastics, and cardio, all those three things really gave me higher self-esteem.
And now you all together, you've put together a brand called the Result Cult. So I want to speak specifically as to this brand, and the importance of branding cannot be understated. That's how people remember people. I stress on my program a lot of time that I buy brands more so than I buy people. And so the Result Cult, is a catchy little brand. So explain this to me.
Well, the name kind of came out of just like a tongue-in-cheek moment where we had a couple people around the club. This is about 3 years ago-ish. Very cool community, and when you get around some of these, I would say, CrossFitters or people that tend to gravitate towards a particular style of training like this, it's fun, it's community driven. We threw a lot of these diet resources at people, a lot of the paleo resources, or non-processed food type diets. One of them found a challenge online, a weight loss challenge, and they wanted to do it. They wanted to register. All these people are getting together, and I said, hey, why don't we just do this here? And so we started our own 30-day, 60-day paleo challenge with these people. And I just kind of called them the Result Cult.
Yeah, and you got the website, resultcult.com, where people can get some more information. I got to take a quick break here, but coming back from the break, I want to discuss some fitness tips that you utilize to get to where you are today, as well as your upcoming ebook, the Restoration Guide. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Mike Ritter and Michelle Richards of the Result Cult. Learn more about them at resultcult.com. And you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I am a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets. And all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
This report is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Advance Auto Parts introduces Speed Perks Rewards Program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense. See details online at AdvanceAutoParts.com.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
Gulf Boulevard remains shut down because of an overnight accident. Long-term investigation there. Avoid Gulf Boulevard and Mad Beach. Delays continuing southbound 49th Street between Roosevelt and Omerton. We have stop-and-go traffic reported there because of an accident blocking the center, left, and left turn lanes. In Riverview, a crash that's slowing traffic Balm Riverview Road at Sims Road. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Eaterwick. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
Today, sunny with a high 86. Tonight, mostly clear, low 70. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 87. And Sunday, Mother's Day, mostly sunny, high 88.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni. Keep in mind, you'll find the show on here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ, and you can learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com. Currently talk with Mike Ritter and Michelle Richards, personal trainers over at the Harbor Island Athletic Club. And also, they have an upcoming book, The Restoration Guide. And in this book, you touch on a number of fitness tips and points. But one thing you wanted to discuss is, what does it mean to be more human? And Michelle, I want you to kind of field this question. Tell me, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so that's a way that we describe a lot of what we talk about. And I'm going to break it, or I'm actually going to make it a big picture for you guys. So we're going to actually talk about the human species. And if you look at the human species, we've only been in modern day society between 250 to 400,000 years. So prior to that, we were part of nature, okay? And we were one with nature rather than, living in what we perceive as modern day society. So for 2.5 million years, we were just out in the wild. We were part of the animal kingdom. And what's interesting about that is, if we look at then versus now, if you kind of get an idea in your head, back then we were hunting, we were gathering, we were moving a lot, we were out in the sunlight. Now, if you can kind of visualize in your head what it looks like, we're running to the grocery store in our cars to pick up our food. We have an abundance of food. We have very little amount of movement in our day, given that we have technology and that we have desk jobs. So what we're trying to say is become more human, get back to our inherent needs, because really, really interesting statistic, actually, for humans, we only deviate the human genome 0.01% every 10,000 years, which means that 250, 400,000 years ago, from then to now, we haven't changed that much. So our inherent needs are very much the same. So those things that, that we had back then that were very important, sunlight, hunting and gathering our food and moving a lot, those are still inherent needs that we have today. So that's kind of the concept of becoming more human. Okay, and your book, The Restoration Guide, how long have you been working on this book?
Oh, dear God. Probably it's been an ongoing process for about 1.5 years. I mean, it's been an evolutionary thing for us. But I mean, we've been working on this book specifically for about 6 months, really, really hard. But the last year we've been putting together all the material for it, and we've been really pulling that all together. Yeah, I've got
you sent me a rough draft of the book, and it looks like it's coming along pretty good and everything. So, and you got a lot of great tips in here on fitness and your stories as well. Let's talk a little bit about stress and the effects on the body, Mike.
Yeah, well, to piggyback off of what Michelle was just saying, if you take a look at this evolutionary biology thing, like our genomes haven't evolved very much. We still need sunlight. We still need a certain amount of movement and type of movement. We have needs for certain types of nutrients that come from certain types of foods. And when we don't have those things, you see problems come up. And so you see a lot of like the modern day problems come up. And don't get me wrong, like we live in an awesome time. Like luxury is pretty cool. Trauma care is very cool. Like there's a lot of modern advancements that are awesome. But when you see a lot of like the common health problems, whether it's diabetes, cardiovascular disease, they all kind of come from the same derivative, and that's chronic stressors on our body. And when you take a look at all these individual things, like you could think of it as alligators in a swamp. And so what's the answer? How do you take care of this manifestation of danger? Do you shoot each alligator? Well, that's not going to work because the environment is still very hospitable and friendly to alligators. You're going to have more alligators come in. So the answer is drain the swamp. So find the commonality. What's housing all of these things, and you find that the repetitive word that when you research a lot of this stuff, the repetitive word is chronic and stressor. So it could be a dietary stressor, it could be a movement-based stressor, emotional stressors. And when we don't have sunlight, when we're sitting under artificial lighting all the time, when we are eating processed foods and sugars in abundance, and we don't have variety of natural foods in our diet, you find that a lot of these common problems all these different problems are coming from a common source. And so the stress, let me break down chronic and acute stress real quick, because there's 2 types. Okay, one's good for you in certain doses, one's bad. So if everybody could just ball up a fist and put it up close to your chest and give yourself 3 quick pops. 1, 2, 3. Boom. If you did it hard enough, you feel your blood pressure rise, you feel excitable. Okay, that's acute stress. Now put your fingers together real quick, put it up to your sternum, and start flicking the middle of your chest. Okay, now keep doing that for 17 years. Okay, that's chronic stress. And at first you don't really notice it. It wasn't as hard as the pound to the chest. Your blood pressure didn't go up. But if you keep doing that long enough, eventually turns into a bruise, and then eventually turns into an open wound. And before you know it, you have an open wound and you don't even realize what happened. And that's kind of like that's the difference, and that's what we're focusing on, is a lot of these chronic stressors causing seemingly undetectable issues until they manifest themselves into medical issues.
So are you, in addition to doing personal training, I mean, are you also kind of being like a counselor, so to speak, for your clients? Tell me a little bit more about what you do for your clients and how you represent them.
Well, we're both personal trainers. I focus a lot on like the stress and movement-based stuff. I write for another website called robwolf.com. A lot of that's stress-based and nutrition. Michelle's the movement girl. She's freaking awesome.
I do an individualized assessment tool that's called a functional movement screen. So that's really good because it kind of picks out where people are having joint issues and that kind of stress, the movement stress. People are having back pain, headaches. We can figure out why. We can figure out what to do about it.
Now, you had a 45-pound weight loss journey, and that led. And how long have you been in the personal training business since then? How long has that been since that?
I lost my weight around 2006. Became a trainer in 2008. So that's 7 years in the business. It's incredible that it's been that long. Mm-hmm. I still feel like somebody who is on a journey myself, helping other people. Like, kind of why I got into it was I felt guilty housing information that I found, so I wanted to help more people.
And Michelle, did you share a similar weight loss journey before you got into personal training and fitness?
No, not really.
So you've always you've been a healthy lifestyle. I myself have been overweight most of my life. I've gained and lost 30 to 40 pounds like 4 different times in my life.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just my weight loss has always been like a sine wave, up and down, up and down. And I think one of the biggest things or impediments to keeping the weight off is the stress. It's just I'm a stress eater, and it's just I can't keep it off because of that. And I have so many things going on at any given time, so I naturally go to the sodas and the beer and things like that, and the food, and it comes right back. I mean, is this what you see from your clients as well, that inability to kind of keep the weight off?
Well, yeah, and I think that's a very common issue, and I think it flies under the radar, these seemingly undetectable issues at first. But
you managed to keep the weight off, though, correct? Have you ever gained it back?
No. I decided that one way to do that was just make my job in a gym. Mm-hmm. I feel like people gain their weight back for 2 major reasons, and usually here it's because family or job or both took over their life. So I thought, I like coaching, I like talking with people, so let me try my hand at this personal training gig. And she's got some points on how to help people and what to do about their issues.
Yep. Go ahead, Michelle.
I think that just to take away what our big picture is here is that we're trying to say that there's 3 different parts to stress, and we don't want to forget any of those components. One is emotional stress. I think that everyone pretty much sees stress as, what's going on in their head, but there's also dietary stressors and there's movement stressors. Okay, so we have to remember that all 3 of those things are going to contribute to things like back pain or chronic illness, etc. So our takeaway here is give yourself permission to slow down. Me and Mike are very into meditation, yoga, move slow, move with quality. Number 2 is sleep enough. 7 to 9 hours is what we need, but the average person only gets about 5 to 6 hours and wakes up 3 to 4 times within that 5 to 6 hours. So sleep more. Eat real food. And when we say that, we're saying shop around the perimeter of the grocery store rather than shopping in the middle. Mm-hmm. Okay, right? Where all the packaged foods are. We are saying move well and move often. And so, make sure that you're moving with quality.
And I'm also over again on your website, resultcult.com, and you've got your upcoming ebook, The Restoration Project. But you've got 3 projects that we've been talking about here as components of your website: the Stress Relief Project, the Real Food Project, and the Movement Project. So These are all the different components that we've been putting together, and these are things that you're preaching and helping your clients with. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And I can't reinforce enough. And we're very realistic about these things. When we're talking about changing, your social behavior, your diet and movement, you cannot change more than one thing at once. Well, simplify things.
Absolutely, and some great information. Thanks both to Mike Ritter and Michelle Richards here of the Result Cult for coming in this morning, giving us some great tips. Learn more about them at resultcult.com. Coming back from the break, we're talking with Rolf Arnhem here on That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Radio salutes Who Cares? Teen Cancer America, founded by Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend of The Who. Roger Daltrey.
Well, the music business would not exist today without the support of teenagers. They've been totally overlooked within the system, and we're out to change that. It's very difficult to get them to open up about their fears. By putting them together, the best psychologist for a teenager is another teenager.
Join Roger and Pete. Learn how you can help make life a little easier for teens battling cancer. Visit teencanceramerica.org.
This report is brought to you by REI. 77 years ago, REI was founded on a simple idea: to find the best deals on the best outdoor gear. The REI Anniversary Sale celebrates that history, and with up to 30% off, you'll find what you need for your next outdoor adventure. Sale begins May 15th.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
In Madeira Beach, Gulf Boulevard remains shut down for a long-term investigation. You want to use the other causeways to get around this area. Southbound 49th Street, a crash that's blocking several lanes at 140th Avenue North. You want to use US 19 or Roosevelt instead. In Tampa, watch for delays and injury crash Bush Boulevard near 26th Street. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Eaterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, weather center forecast. Lots of sunshine today, very similar to yesterday. See those mid-upper 80s for the high, rain chance not in the forecast, and tonight's low down to 70 degrees. Impact Radio 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 winds, WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying tuned in yet again to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind, you can catch the show on here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ. And as always, you can learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com. Also on the site, you'll notice that I sell real estate. So if you're in the market to possibly sell your home, there is a link on the homepage that says Sell Your Home. Click on that, and I will send you over a free home valuation. Also on the site, you will see all the area property listings and my pre-listed properties. I and my team specialize in the sale of bank-owned listings, and so there's a lot of properties on the pre-list properties tab that you're not going to see in the MLS because they're not on the market just yet. So again, peruse over to TampaBayRadio.com. And on the site, you can also catch the shows on demand and also see our extensive guest network. And by clicking on their show cards, you can see all of their interviews and get a lot of great information. The show is really starting to take off and just having some fascinating people through the show, including my next guest, Rolf Arnhem. Whether it is in business, in family matters, in the religious, charitable, or civic organizations to which you belong, and even among friends, there are people who will push back on your plans, hopes, and dreams and tell you it can't be done. Throughout his career as a military officer, business executive, Vistage chair, and author, Rolf Arnhem has heard that refrain too many times to count. In each instance, his reply was, "Oh yes, it can be done, and here's how." Rolf is an in-demand speaker on matters of leadership, accountability, motivation, execution, and organizational alignment. He is a lifelong Rotarian and currently a member of the Rotary Club of Tampa. Rolf's book is a memoir of leadership and is entitled "Start Everything, Finish Nothing: The Curse of Modern Management." Rolf, welcome to the show today.
Good morning, Jamie. Happy to be here, and I have to echo the previous comment. It is Mother's Day, and one of the things we work very hard at with the CEOs that I mentor and coach is work-life balance. And the reality is it gets to be kind of a joke. And too often it's about work, play, work instead of play, work, play. This weekend, pull the work part out of there and put real, true balance in there and make it about family and about Mother's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send a shout out to my mother as well, Linda Meloni, a great supporter of mine and someone I love very much. And so I think my mom listens from time to time. So hopefully she gets the message. And of course, I will be sending her a gift as well. I was fortunate to have a very good mother as well as a father in my life, and who raised me very well and gave me the opportunities, to excel and succeed in life. So yeah, I always cannot understate the importance of great parenting in our lives. So, and also, thanks to you for extending, that information out as well. You're obviously a very accomplished gentleman. This book here, Start Everything, Finish Nothing, and your website is, for the book, is starteverythingfinishnothing.com. So if people after the interview are interested in the book, visit starteverythingfinishnothing.com to obtain the book. And in the book, you account how you overcoming obstacles, and you share a great story in there about the Army-Navy game. Let's start with that. Tell me the story.
Well, it was in 1981 during the Army-Navy game, and a group of us were watching the game. And I made the comment that West Point and Annapolis and the football teams belong to our country. It's truly America's team, and the game should move around the country. And my wife said it can't be done. And I've reminded her many times over, and I remind people around me, never, never tell me it can't be done. And so I set about meeting with appropriate people, not only in the community, in that particular case, Pasadena and Los Angeles area, but leaders in government and at West Point and the Naval Academy, and put together a proposal to move the game. And I heard from them it can't be done, and which just gave me more juice and more energy. And ultimately, and on the 25th of November of 1983, there was a Army-Navy game in the Rose Bowl.
Now, are you involved in the Rose Bowl? I've heard you mention that coming up. Tell me about your involvement in the Rose Bowl.
When I had the assignment as the CEO of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce, I became a member of the Tournament of Roses in Pasadena. And I was very active in that capacity for over 20 years. And today I'm a lifelong member of the Tournament of Roses and very proud of it. Still have my white suit and my red tie in my closet.
And I'm certain that you've learned many of your leadership skills from your role as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. Talk to me a little bit about your experience in the military.
Well, I've served in a number of capacities in the Army since my graduation from West Point. And it was essentially positions in command staff, plans, training, and operations. And each one of those gave me a unique opportunity to work and lead people. And the lessons that I learned through various assignments from various levels, through command of an infantry battalion in Vietnam to a brigade task force defending Cam Bay, that on a daily basis you had to make decisions. You had to make them quickly, and you had to make certain that your orders were implicitly followed. I've maintained that same discipline that started at West Point through the Army and ultimately in the reserves as a colonel, that you've got to stay focused, you've got to continue to train, but you've got to motivate your people so they do follow you, and that no obstacle is too difficult. Any obstacle should be seen as an opportunity.
Now, I've got your book in front of me again, Start Everything, Finish Nothing, and you got the table of contents organized very nicely here with a lot of different components of what it takes to be a leader. And in Chapter 2, you get into it can't be done, a huge talking point of your book. When somebody tells you it can't be done, I mean, give me some tips for dealing with that type of pushback. I mean, do you have to go around them? Do you go through them? I mean, referencing the Army-Navy game, for instance, I mean, how did you get through that pushback? What are some tips to give people, when they are just facing that type of a roadblock?
Well, it's interesting they should use that terminology, go through them, go around them, knock them down, whatever it takes. They're not going to get in my way. Obviously, you've got to do that with care, and that's where the term carefrontation comes into place. You can't be a human bulldozer in the business community. You've got to find a way to do that. More often than not, I've found alternative courses of action. But I've also spent a great deal of time understanding that if you can reach key decision makers and you can leverage your relationships, that ultimately there isn't anybody that you can't have access to. So I was able to gain access to the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Army, Secretary of the Navy, the leaders at the two academies. At one point, the chairman of the board of United Airlines, when I was putting together a plan to move both the Corps of Cadets and the Brigade of Midshipmen across the country, which meant moving 10,000 people in just a short period of time, that in every case, it was a matter of staying focused and telling yourself, yes, I can do this. And as a result of that mantra, that ethos, I got it done.
Now, the book, this was as a result of your involvement. You represent or work with a number of CEOs through Vistage, Florida. This website, we talk a little bit about your role with Vistage, Florida. Learn more about this at vistageflorida.com. Tell me about what Vistage, Florida, and your role in this organization is.
Well, Vistage, Florida is part of Vistage International, some 19,000 executives worldwide, 16 countries. And there are folks like me that chair groups. In my case, I chair 3 of them. So there are about 900 people like myself around the world. And we have groups of CEOs and, in one instance, first line of direct reports. And they meet once a month in a confidential think tank type environment. And the idea is to help that business grow and to help that individual grow professionally, to add additional skill sets. My job, simply put, is to facilitate, to encourage, and to bring these people together on a once-a-month basis where they look very deeply at the decisions that they're trying to make and make certain that they do make a decision, and then I hold them accountable.
And you said, we were talking before the show, that you're working with like 46 different CEOs of companies, correct?
That is correct.
Tell me, it fascinates me, people that get to the role of CEO in some of the companies. What are some of the main drivers and main, traits, so to speak, that you see in these men that get them there? Because so often people are like, how did he do that? Or how did she do that? What are some of the main traits that people need to have in addition to just, going around and not taking no for an answer?
Well, I think it starts with passion, and it also starts with the idea that they're motivated to reach goals. They're all very goal-oriented. And if they set goals for themselves, then really it's a matter of my staying on top of them, and I do a goals matrix, if you will, for each one of them, and I ask them several questions. What is your personal goal? What is your personal professional goal? What is your goal for 2015? It could be stated in gross sales. It could be stated in net revenue in any number of ways. And then I take it a step further and I ask them, what is your goal for the year 2020? I keep them focused both near and long term. And what's fascinating to me among the CEOs is that those that succeed are the ones that are motivated, that see an end game, and they're driven by those goals. The ones that lose direction, lose their motivation, lose their work ethic, tire, they will fail.
Talk to me about the ability to bounce back from rejection. I study a lot of leaders, and this point comes up all the time, is that people that succeed are the ones who handle rejection the best. Talk to me about this.
Well, I think rejection is something that you almost face on a daily basis. We hear more often than not about salespeople. The joke among salespeople is it takes 10 calls to get one appointment or 3 appointments to get a sale, and they're very fastidious with it, and they get to their 9th call, and somebody tells them, no, I'm not interested in your service or your product, and they say, thank you so very much, because I can hardly wait for my 10th call. And that's true with salespeople. At some level, we're all in sales, whether we like it or not. Yeah. And whether we're selling ourselves to a future spouse, or whether we're selling ourselves to our people, to our customers and clients, every one of us on a day-to-day basis is in sales, and we're going to get rejected. And the reality is that you've got to pick yourself up and go for another day, and know that that next person is the opportunity, and they're the ones that are going to say yes.
Yeah, and that's some great information there. And I myself, I don't fear rejection. I embrace it, and I'm used to hearing it. I sell real estate every single day. Also on my radio shows, I try to develop sponsorships, things of that nature, and it just propels me forward. And eventually, when you succeed, it's great to look back on the people that turned you down and are now coming to you, and you want to get yourself into a position where they're eventually coming to you. And it's just a great feeling, and it's something that I don't shy away from. It doesn't bother me one bit to get rejected. I don't disrespect or hold it against anybody for rejecting whatever service or product that I'm trying to offer. But I see that in a lot of successful people is the ability to accept rejection and move forward with it. And those are the people that I think that's a strong character trait of those who succeed. Now, your book, Start Everything, Finish Nothing, The Curse of Modern Management, was inspired by your working with these number of CEOs, correct? Tell me a little bit more about this inspiration.
Well, where this came from is that as a function of working with CEOs and that first line of direct reports, I used anecdotes more often than not. And it was a good way to make a point, to make it clear, and they could identify with the anecdotes. And they kept pushing my buttons for years. Said, Rolf, you've got to do a book. You've got to put all of this knowledge into something that will endure and that people will look to as a guidepost to overcome those obstacles that keep them from finishing their daily task. Every one of us gets up at the beginning of the day. We look at our to-do list, and guess what? By the end of the day, those things are not done. People will go home at night and share with their significant other or their spouse when somebody says, tell me about your day, and they say you were busy. That's not good enough. Busy doing what? And so the term or the words start everything, finish nothing sort of popped into my head. But as I listened to the CEOs, and frankly, it took me a couple of years to finally decide to really write this book. It took several years just to come up with the title. But as I listened to their experiences and as I absorbed the challenges that they were facing and I reflected on my own career, every one of the chapters began to evolve.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about some of these chapters and some of the other lessons that can be learned from your book, Start Everything, Finish Nothing. And you can pick up this book from the website, starteverythingfinishnothing.com. We're currently talking with Rolf Arnhem, author of the book, Start Everything, Finish Nothing, and we'll be finishing up the interview coming back from the break. And again, you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I am a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
This report is brought to you by REI. 77 years ago, REI was founded on a simple idea: to find the best deals on the best outdoor gear. The REI Anniversary Sale celebrates that history, and with up to 30% off, you'll find what you need for your next outdoor adventure. Sale begins May 15th.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center.
Southbound 49th Street remains jammed up all the way back onto the Bayside Bridge because of an earlier accident. And give yourself plenty of time if you're using the Bayside southbound. Gulf Boulevard remains shut down at Madeira Beach because of an earlier accident that's being investigated. And a serious injury crash in Pinellas County on US 19 just south of Tarpon Avenue. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
Today, sunny with a high 86. Tonight, mostly clear, low 70. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 87. And Sunday, Mother's Day, mostly sunny, high 88.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind you can find the show on here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ, and also learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com. Currently talk with Rolf Arnhem, author of the book Start Everything, Finish Nothing, and you can pick this book up at that website, starteverythingfinishnothing.com. And in the first segment, we're kind of focused on the book and its inspiration from your role with educating and working with some 46 different CEOs of companies. But this book, Start Everything, Finish Nothing, is not just for CEOs, it's for everybody. So explain this to me.
Well, it is for everybody. It can start with the homemaker and that person that begins their day and gets consumed with all the interruptions. And it could be a child, be somebody at the door, it could be an email, it could be a text message, it could be the phone, it could be any number of interrupters that besiege us. That person that goes to work on a daily basis in a retail capacity, in a hotel, in a store, in a radio show like yourself. Every one of us have things that we want to do on any given day, and at the end of the day, they're not done. And what happened? And that's the question that I ask, and that's the question that I'm trying to answer.
So it's for everybody from the homemaker up to the CEO and everybody in between. So again, start everything, finish nothing. And one of the lessons that you stress in the book, and something that's also I've covered on my show a number of times, is the importance of learning to follow before you can lead. Tell me about this role in business and in life in general.
Well, as we move through life, we are following before we're ready to lead, and there's a good reason for that. When I went to the infantry school at Fort Benning, Georgia, after my commissioning, there was a statue, and it shows a lieutenant, and his right arm is upraised, and in his left hand he has his rifle, and inscribed under it says, "Follow me." That made a huge impact on me, and the lesson that I learned from that is, number one, you'd have to begin to understand how important it is to follow before you're prepared to lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that's a concept that the military drills into people as well. And you rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel, but you wouldn't have gotten there had you not learned the importance of following and listening to the people in command. Am I correct?
Absolutely correct. It's implicit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also stay very involved in the community. Tell me about the ways that you're staying involved in the Tampa Bay region right now.
Well, in addition to Rotary that you mentioned, I'm a member of the CEO Council. I've been on the board at Moffitt Cancer Center. I've been involved at the University of South Florida in the Dean's Circle. But more recently, I decided to go to Leadership Tampa, and I graduated from that 2 years ago. But I decided that I am so passionate about leadership that I needed to find another way to give back, and it was through Leadership Tampa and through the Chamber of Commerce. So I've been a day chair for now 2 years, taking those that are going through that program through a very important and enriching experience, which we have been calling community outreach, to introduce them to all the nonprofit entities within this community. And as a result of that, I challenged them as most recently as 2 nights ago when I said, you came in with the idea that you were going to be of better service to the community and take a position of leadership. Have you, in fact, committed? Did you understand my call to action that I gave them on the 1st of October, that reach out to those various community-based organizations, say, I'm ready to lead, or I'm ready to follow. But in any case, get involved in the community. And I continue to do that through my involvement with Leadership Tampa, and I'm going to do it again next year. And on or about the 1st of October, another 50-plus people are going to hear me issue the same challenge.
That's
Lead
incredible.
or get out of the way.
Lead or get out of the way. That's great. And I see you got a whole chapter. You got this book here, Start Everything, Finish Nothing. This is obviously a well put together book with a lot of great tips, and it's written in a very concise and simple, easy to read presentation here. One of the chapters is on network and relationship building. Talk to me about the importance of that, and obviously something that you developed through Leadership Tampa as well.
What people do not understand is the word networking versus the word relationship building. Networking, people assume they go someplace, they exchange business cards, and then they move on. A relationship says you learn something about that individual the first time out. You find out something about them. If they start to ask you a question, flip it and tell them that you want to hear more about them. Write something on the back of that card, follow up, and build then that relation. Let that networking event evolve into a relationship. Too frequently, people will attend an event, will not introduce themselves to those that are around them or even at the table. They figure they just got 8 or 9 new best friends because they were sitting there. A relationship says you get to know those people, you follow up, and you learn more about them, their business, and how you can help them. Make it about them. That's how the relationship is built. Too frequently, you go home with a pocket full of business cards. You put them on your desk. A week later, you can't remember who that person is, where you met them, or anything about them. That's not how you build a relationship.
Yeah, relationships, I say a lot. I would much rather have a few relationships than a ton of networking associates. And one of the reasons I wanted to start this show is also to build my relationships with people. And every morning I get introduced to 2 or 3 different professionals on a very personal level through the interviews that I do. And it's been a great business builder for myself as well as my community exposure. And something that I'm also developing for my guests is the monthly networking sessions that I have to kind of hold everybody together. And so people that are listening that want to get involved in the show, please reach out to me, Jamie at TampaBayRadio.com, for ways to get involved. Rolf, we got about a minute left and everything. We'll give you one last chance to plug the book. You can get it over at StartEverythingFinishNothing.com. Where else is it available?
It's available on Amazon.
Okay.
By just using the title of the book. But I encourage people to pick it up because every chapter has a nugget. It's not like so many books or so many themes. There's one message. This book has a nugget, something actionable in every chapter. And I urge people to read it, not just only to improve their lives, but to improve their businesses and to make them more efficient and candidly to have them more satisfied and take the stress out of your life. So at 4 o'clock, ask yourself, did I finish what I started?
Well, hey, some great information, and we could probably talk about it for an hour for all the different points in this book. Rolf, thank you very much for coming in this morning. And everybody, that was Rolf Arnhem, author of Start Everything, Finish Nothing. Pick up the book at StartEverythingFinishNothing.com. Hope everybody has a great weekend. I'll see you Monday morning at 8 a.m. on That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.